welcome to another video. I know it's March already, 2026, so it seems a strange thing to do to look back at images from 2025, but hey ho, here we are. It was confirmed yesterday that Cornwall had the wettest winter since records began this year. Yeah, it's been relentless for rain. Have still managed to get out with the camera this year, but it got me thinking, about last year and some of the images that I got last year. Yeah, I thought I'd just share five of my favourite images from last year. Um, I guess I've taken a lot of images last year, and my opinion would always change on which images are potentially are my favourite based on my mood at the time. But I think with these five, I always sort of look back at them and think, yeah, I'm pleased with those images. So yeah, we'll go through five images. So number one is some butterflies in dew, and it's a shot I've always wanted for some reason. Just I've seen shots from other photographers, butterflies just roosting in the dewy grass, covered in dew droplets. I just think it's fascinating, and so it's a shot that I've wanted to get for a few years. And last year I managed to get it, and I got really lucky because I went to a local spot, got up like 5 o'clock in the morning, really ridiculous early morning, and I managed to get a couple of other shots which I'll put up. The first butterfly I found was a common blue, which was great. I was excited about that. Then I found a small copper, and then I hit the jackpot with these two common blue butterflies on the same stem of grass, roosting, and they were nice and low. I was able to just very carefully clamp the grass to hold them steady and do a focus stack. So I managed to get some amazing detail of the butterflies. So I was just, yeah, over the moon to find it, and managed to get a shot that I was really happy with. So I'll stick the shot up. Let me know what you think. The second image is a shot that I got on the way back from the Wales and West photography show. It was the first time I've attended the show. I'll put some images up from the show. If you get the opportunity to go, I'd definitely recommend it. It's on a much, much smaller scale than the photography and video show, which is held alternatively at the NEC and Excel in London. But a modern building. It was a really, really hot weekend. That weekend, it's held in June time, so it was sweltering. But it's a new modern building with air conditioning, which just was lovely. So once you were inside, it was fantastic. Yeah, as I say, a lot smaller than a photography and video show, but the quality of the speakers and some of the hands-on sort of workshops that they had were just fantastic. I can thoroughly recommend it. I'm aiming to go back again this year. However, on the way back, and it was always the plan was to try and go to Clevedon, which was not a place that I've been to before, and I'm glad that I did because I got really lucky with the sunset from my first visit. I almost didn't because it was a really long day at the show. Started quite early in the morning, all day at the show, and then I left Wales at about 5 o'clock, forgetting totally that it was a bank holiday weekend, and I sat in a lot of traffic on the M5 for quite a considerable amount of time. But I persevered, got to Clevedon with a couple of hours to spare before sunset, and I stuck around, and I'm really glad that I did because I got some shots I was really happy with. I'll stick a few up from that visit, but the sunset itself, I was really pleased. From the shot itself, I managed to get the sun sort of purposefully. I got it sort of underneath some cross beams of the pier. I was really lucky. Didn't Sunset was quite late, being June, like 9 o'clock at night, if not later. So by the time I got home, it was really late. But yeah, totally worth it. Got very lucky for my first visit there to get such a good sunset. So for number three, we've got another macro shot. I do enjoy doing a lot of macros. As I said in the photography and video show sort of wish list that I did. I'm hoping to look at macro lenses when I go to the photography show. I do a lot of macro, and this was taken at the same spot as the common blue butterflies. And I've got a shot previously, which I'll put up, of a red-tailed bumblebee just resting on some grass, which I was really pleased with. But I was really happy to find this one, which was resting on a purple thistle flower. It was getting quite late, so I had to use quite a bit of flash to light the subject. But yeah, I was overall was really pleased. I like the fact that the bee's not kind of upside down; it's on the flower, and you can see another flower in the background. I think it just adds to the shot. Yeah, I was really pleased with this, and again, I was able to focus stack it because it was nice and still. Shop number four. This one's quite local to me down at Portreath. It's a famous shot that you see all the time of the waves smashing into the end of the harbour wall. Wasn't It was quite a few years ago now that the monkey hut on the end was actually completely sort of smashed up in a bad storm, and they did manage to get the rocks back out from the sea and put it back together, thankfully. But it's a shot that's seen sort of many times. So I wouldn't say I've done anything kind of unique with this shot. However, full disclosure, it is two shots merged together. I stood there and I was watching what was happening, and the surfers were being quite brave, coming in quite close along the harbour wall, but you couldn't get the wave because of the difference between the wave, the two waves breaking. You couldn't get the surfer in front of the monkey hut and the wave breaking. The surfer would have been a lot further along the harbour wall by the time the next wave came in and smashed into the end of the harbour wall. So yeah, it's two shots. I was working off of a tripod with a remote, so I was able to keep the camera in the same position, and I just fired off shots. Got a shot for the wave, got a shot for the surfer, and yeah, I've merged them together in Photoshop, and hopefully that's not too obvious. That might be a bit controversial for the purists out there, but I think at the end of the day, it makes a good photograph, and it is still two photographs. There is no, there's nothing been added, nothing, no AI, no generative AI. It's still two photographs. They're just two separate frames that have been put together. And for number five, we had a lovely family holiday to the Isle of Wight in October. We had a real mixed bag of weather. It wasn't particularly great all week. It mostly dry, with the exception of this day when I got this photograph. But it was mostly grey for a good part of the week. I really persevered though, and I would advise this to anyone. I made the conscious decision, and I do tend to do this if I go away, is I tend not to worry about looking at the forecast. If I'm close to the coast, I will just get up in the morning and go out regardless. And I did that every day whilst we were there, and for sunset as well. I just kept going out. Most of the time it was pretty grey, flat light. I struggled to get anything particularly brilliant. On this particular day, I remember we had torrential rain. We actually drove around most of the island that day, and it was just raining torrential most of the day. We got back to the place that we were staying, and it did stop raining. And I thought, yeah, I'm just going to go out. Maybe something will happen, and it did. And it just shows that all you need is a couple of minutes. And got really lucky. There was a very small gap on the horizon for the sun to come through, and I got a couple of minutes of light, and that was it, and that's all it needed. Really pleased with how this shot came out. I'd like to say this was deliberate, but I got kind of lucky with the groin, or it was almost one of the posts of the groin is almost pointing up towards the sun. yeah, I'd like to say that was planned, but it was a little bit lucky. Yeah, just really pleased, and it just shows, you've got to persevere, just got to get out there, and sometimes, the perseverance will pay off, and you'll get lucky. So yeah, that's my 5 shots for last year. I took obviously a lot more than that, and there's other shots that I'm really happy with, but these 5 I sort of go back to and really pleased with. Butterfly shots printed up on the wall. Love printing my work. Recommend displaying it rather than just sticking it on a hard drive. But yeah, that's the 5 shots. Let me know what you think in the comments. Until next time, bye bye.